reflected on a model of society built on fraternity from which flows naturally liberty and equality, which is not true of the opposite as we see it daily. This reflection requires to specify some tracks that make it credible. This is the purpose of this document, which is a synthesis of the proposals made on thoroughdelevante.org controversial register as a basis for discussion.
Backbeat to word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out.
Fraternity leads us to deny notions like hierarchy and position authority, the currency, even if one cannot dispense with a desk of monetization, demonetization for international exchanges, the right of ownership. Conversely, it puts forward ideas that can be highlighted to this day, such as the parsimony of consumption, which is not contrary to the quality of production and services, the versatility of the activities without being an obligation, the suppression of holidays of all kinds, but with at the same time an activity reduced to 24 hours per week and the possibility of choosing activities all over the country for more or less long periods to discover the regions and our fellow citizens. A cessation of the activity as soon as the health is in question, no retirement either, but likewise a time of work adapted to the tiredness felt. Let's take a look at some tracks as previously announced. 3 sets were distinguished for this presentation. The third set, under the label beforehand, brings together what it would be desirable to achieve before anything else. The second set, under the label nationally, groups national level proposals. The third set, labeled locally, groups local level proposals. So first of all, on one hand, it would be necessary to make an economic inventory of activities that we will define as useful activities. It is for people in these areas of activity to make an inventory of production and service processes, to know the needs of energy, equipment and premises, as well as the organization needed to obtain a report in hours of work and in activity posts. Eliminating a number of activities that we consider useless justifies the 24 hours of work per week and perhaps less. The economic inventory work mentioned here will confirm this hypothesis. The capitalist system needs all the useless activities, either to monitor the world of work and the world of commerce or to generate the mysterious growth.
Get together.
Always beforehand, and on the other hand, it will be necessary to consider differently the education of our children. First of all, they will all benefit from the love of their parents. If we are not capable of this first requirement, it will not be worth going further for a fraternal society. Of course, to reach this point, it will be necessary to start by helping all parents to become aware of this requirement and to offer them social conditions that unburden them of any other worries, at least the time of this early childhood education. On the other hand, and above all, we will not stigmatize people who do not wish to have children. It will not be necessary then to put these children in a huge competition organization without sound, although a certain number of teachers exercise and function with respect for their pupils today. But on 800,000 people of a generation, we must be aware that the goal set for Department for Education by the capitalist system is to provide each year a little more than 30,000 engineers, 5,000 doctors, 80 senior government officials, etc., among which will come out over time a few thousand senior officials. The surplus has no interest for the capitalist system. It is even a cost that would be like to reduce to the strict minimum to have workers able to read and notice, as well as written instruction, and citizens only able to be receptive propaganda campaigns of all kinds. In addition to the experience of socializing children to other children and their school supervisors through schooling, children should be open to children from other regions or even other countries and finger the variety of landscape of the country from nursery school by small trips of 1 hour or two, then stays, why not individual and not whole classes in other cities or villages during the primary school with good cooperation of welcoming teachers and parents with the help of, for example, the transport of goods, which will at the same time discover this world to children. Transport being made safer by less global circulation of this society, drivers who are no longer paid a rate per mile they travel, and a national transport system that will no longer be forced to imperative schedules because they will manage permanently and will be able to solve all the problems of accommodation in its intermodal connection centers or even with the housing management system. A trend that is beginning to emerge is also to bring awareness to children during their first schooling, philosophy, psychology and sociology, of course according to a progression adapted to their level. Maybe some teachers will see there an overload of programs. It is obvious that this integration will not be done in addition to a rigidified program, but by using, for example, grammatical or arithmetic examples to effectively merge these new school subjects. On the other hand, some teachers may see an open door to challenge their authority with pupils who are less subject to ignorance. But if the teachers also adopt fraternal relationship with their students, they will be respected for their attention and not because they are guardians of the great competition who award chocolate medal grades. A student doesn't need a F to know he did not understand or an A to know that he answers questions correctly. And as the Department for Education will no longer serve to make selections for the social pyramid, the grades will not be used for anything. What is currently frightening is this permanent competition instituted in society and at the same time this pseudo-incantation to work in cooperation for the progress and efficiency of the company. That the parents do not realize the numerous clauses instituted by the pyramid organization of the society. They enroll their children in luxury schools to make them follow private lessons in addition to the school courses. They will be anyway excluded, especially if the Department for Education was able to educate all students to PhD and counting that they could all embark on their startup to validate the sacrosanct growth of the capitalist system would be a perfect illusion. Who would they sell to their production and services? To the Martians? The tendency of the world of activity, as we have just seen for the transport world, with the aim of producing a project element, a sample or a model, would be a good way of doing them discover activities that could give meaning and motivation to their studies. Here again, it is up to the professionals to be available and to propose actions adapted to the capacities of children, collaboration with the teachers for the pedagogical part. One possibility of digital could be to provide a coach for each child. They would take home the oral content of the lesson of the day in magnetic media, and at home an artificial intelligence would be in charge of checking in dialogue with them that they understood all the words of the lessons, if necessary by presenting them with illustration of image or videos, and complementing their culture by having them read excerpts of text that may attract their curiosity and gain more knowledge. Now let us consider the proposals that are national level for this new society.